many have been a contestant before? Okay, we have a wide variety of audience today. So basically, I'm going to do a lot of talking about a subject that many of you are very familiar with. Some of you have been very helpful and even chief judges in our presence right in this very room, past chief judges, which Tim did not mention, but I am Division B chief judge for this year. And all of us that are going to be doing contests, keep that in mind. Your area governors on the club level will be helping you find your judges for your clubs. But when we get to the area level and above, I'll be helping the area governors in the division. So, why do we need judges? How many of you have gone to that contest that you were talking about, or any contest in the past? I've been in Toastmasters since 1998. Past years where you came away and said, how did they come up with that for the winner? How many of you have walked away from a contest and been just a little bit disappointed or confused about
Every time it wasn't me who won.
Good answer, John. I was the only one that didn't vote for you, too. Well, as judges, we have an obligation. We have an obligation to the contestants, to Toastmasters International, to the audience, and to ourselves. So, our obligation to the contestants is to be fair, be knowledgeable, know what we're doing, and get the job done correctly. Our obligation to Toastmaster International is, hey, we're in an organization that's well-known. Not well-known like in Reno, Sparks, Carson City, Lake Talent, Siena Klein. No, worldwide well-known. So they have a reputation that they need to keep up. So basically, we want to do a very good job for Toastmasters International. What we do represents a bigger picture. We have an obligation to the audience. So when the audience leaves the room, just as my first question came around, how many of you felt a little confused? Well, we have an obligation as a judge when they're walking out that door that they're going to go, okay, I think that was a very fair contest and well run, and it is a good representative of what I want to be involved with. We don't want to have them walk out the room and say, I'm never coming back. That's the worst contest ever. How could they pick that person as a winner? They're really confused and they're lost, and why am I involved in this organization in the first place? So there's a couple obligations. And the fourth obligation, probably one of the most important, is we have an obligation to ourselves. And of course, you know, everybody here is responsible for how they walk away and feel. When you walk away from that contest, you want to make sure that you weren't swayed one way or another to make a decision that you weren't really planning on making at that time. So we're going to, the main purpose of a judge is to select a winner. Judging is not evaluating. There's two different things. As a judge, you're not sitting out there looking for things that you can tell the speaker, hey, if you'd stop hitching up your pants, you might win a contest. Obviously, good evaluating does work. It's a great example of how far you can go in Toastmasters International. But that's not your job as a judge. Hold that for your contest. You're really not even supposed to speak to the contestants. What you vote is confidential, so afterwards you're not going to go and say, well, I would have picked you if you wore a suit today, you just look like a bum. So you can't go after the contest and redo it, because you're not judging for not doing an evaluation, I'm sorry. So this is a little hard without a PowerPoint. I see that I wasn't going to refer to it, and I just did. Good judges are accurate, fair, trustworthy, knowledgeable, and good listeners. And what does that mean to us as judges? Accurate, well, look at your little handout form here and know that you need to complete this correctly, and we're going to go over this form in a little bit. So I'm just going to briefly let you pick it up and touch it and see what I'm going to be talking about. Shut up, Dwayne. Stop laughing. Okay, you can't touch your phone. Judges need to be fair. By fair, you can't just say, oh, gosh, John, I'm so glad you're competing today. You've got my vote when they walk in the door. How fair would that be? You have to be fair. You have to keep yourself open and not try to, let outside influences influence your vote. Trustworthy. Obviously, if you're going to be a contestant, you want to know that the judges sitting out there judging you are trustworthy, that you can count on them to give their 100% as a judge. So, as a judge, you want to receive that 100% by being trustworthy. You've got to be knowledgeable. We want to know the contest rules. I did bring a handout for after the training of the contest rules if you want to acquaint yourself with them. That would be nice. You want to know exactly how to use this form, which I'm going to tell you a little bit later. And so you want to be a knowledgeable of, yes, John?
I have a question. Has that handout, have the rules been updated?
Yes, they have. 2012.
2012.
Hey, John, would you like a copy of them?
Have you changed since 2000?
There have not been any major changes to the rules except for the picture on the front of the cover, as far as I know. But I know I have an assistant named John Davis who will inform us all later if I've missed anything, because that's why we're in a group together and why I don't know every single thing, because I have other people helping me. Thanks, John. Let's see. So you are knowledgeable and you're familiar with the judging form, which we're going to talk about, and you're going to fill it out properly. Mostly you have to be a good listener, and good listening is very hard sometimes when you get distracted. Say someone's cell phone goes off and they can't turn it off in the middle of a presentation. That's really distracting, but sometimes unavoidable. But as a judge, you just got to put the blinders on, the earphones on, and keep listening to the speaker.
Wow, never get an iPhone.
So that's the weirdest thing. Yeah, honestly, that was just something bizarre, and I'm sure it's going to go into one of those bizarre books, because I had the sound off, I had everything off, and then I couldn't turn it off when that song came on, and I'll go into this. That's going to make a great speech. Yeah, angels are coming, and I had the feeling I'd never heard it before, so it was a good sign. So what are the barriers to objectivity? As judges, we all have our barriers. Some of them are speaker position. A lot of people think speaker number one has a disadvantage. There might be 6 speakers. Okay, speaker number 1, you forgot all about what he said by the time you get to speaker number 6. Some people believe speaker number 6 has the most advantage because they are the last one you heard and you can only remember the last couple things. So consequently, the people in the middle are sort of lost. But a lot of people tend to remember speaker number 1 and try to make everybody match up to them. So as a judge, you're going to have to try to eliminate that speaker position syndrome and remember each speaker by itself. Some of the ways you can do this is write notes, right? I always write notes. Something I liked about their speech or something that will target me back to why I thought this person was, why I scored him the way I did. A champion for the underdog. A lot of people believe that, man, this guy just won the Toastmaster. Look how hard he had to do for this contest, and there he is up there. I'm so proud of him. I'm just going to give him some points because he just worked so much harder. Well, yeah, he may have worked it harder, but you're judging the speaker on the speech they're doing that day. And is it fair to an experienced Toastmaster who, yes, has the experience behind them, may not have had the shakes as much, or at least you couldn't see them as much? No, you have to be careful about the underdog and the transferring personal feelings. I have been at a contest several years ago where the judges there did exactly that. They picked somebody that was new, did not do anything close to the best speech there, but because of the way the scoring goes, these judges picked this one, these judges picked that one, but they all had this mutual, let's give them a vote, and that person they gave the vote to won. Because when you totaled it up, that's the way the score went. So be careful about that. The halo effect, hey, this guy's a great speaker, he teaches speaking in school, let's give him the vote right now. No halo effect. And the reverse halo effect, oh my God, I can't believe the club sent that guy for a speaker. He'll never win, click. So we have to do the positive and the negative, move them around and judge the person for today. The second time around of that, he's been here so many times. No, John, that's not fair, because that might have been a contest you walked away with and felt the same thing, but yeah, he's been around so many times, let's give it to him this time. Well, let's move that away from our judging plate and just judge for what they're doing today. Not the norm. A lot of people think I'm not the norm, and I'd feel really offended if someone didn't judge me like fairly, just because I don't always speak the same way as other people speak. So if you're used to seeing someone stand behind the lectern and this person wants to come out here and just talk really personally like all the other speakers today, don't judge me poorly because I'm using the lectern. So, fellow Toastmasters, that's just a thought that we're going to try to put everybody on the same playing field. And the prejudices and personal preferences, yeah, you always like the way Carmen speaks. She has that little accent that just does it for me. Who cares what she spoke about today? She gets my vote. So, you gotta watch all this stuff. It's just little small details, but okay, Carmen, I'll still vote for you, but not judging you. Let's move on to the, does anybody have any questions as why we're going to be judges, why we want to be judges, and why we want to help our clubs and other people? Keep in mind, you cannot be a judge if you're competing in a contest until you are eliminated from that contest at any level. So I'm looking for volunteers, and I'm looking for good judges. When you walk out of here, if you have any questions left over, please feel free to ask. We're going to move on to, quickly, because we're trying to get out of here fast, the speech, the ballot itself. Now remember, we're not doing an evaluation. It's not like in your book. But obviously we have the same things. On the back, lo and behold, they have a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today. So if you don't get what I said, because I'm speaking really quickly, I'm respecting the fact that you're intelligent adults and that later you will not remember the first half of my speech or my second half of the speech or the middle. So here's the little cheat sheet that every club can have on their ballots. I handed out the international because that's what we're going to talk about, but this go around we're doing the international and the evaluation contest, so you'll find the same effect on every contest. The numbers on the front and the explanations on the back. The suggested use. Your whole idea of being a judge is to pick a winner. Pick a winner. So, number one, a little logistics. We're going to tear off the bottom half. So anything you write up here, no one's going to see it but you. A lot of people score really high. They look, oh, this guy was a 20, this is an 18. A lot of people go, this is a 12 and this is a 9. No, whatever numbers, as long as you score everybody equally, obviously when you get done, your own ballot is going to represent who you picked as a winner. As a judge, regardless of how many certificates they announce they're going to hand out, keep in mind you're picking a first, second, and third place. If we have 3 contestants, first, second, and third. So you want to sign your ballot, put your name. That makes it legal to sign ballots or a necessity, and in most contests they'll just throw them out. Occasionally you'll see someone go off the record and go back out, so you forgot to sign your ballot. But officially, that's not officially how we do it, so I didn't say that. You get 3 points for first place, 2 points for second place, and 1 point for third place. So keep in mind that you don't want to give the first place person 1 point. You want to make sure you pay close attention that the first line is first place, they get 3 points. Second place, because I have seen people reverse these, believe it or not. Or they'll just write it in and say, oh, I picked this guy 1, 2, and 3. No, try to do it, because when the counters count these, we're going to go by how you wrote this. So you want to be, once again, familiar with your ballot so you're fair as a judge and you know what you're doing at all times. So we have the names of the contestants, their points, and how much they're going to get. So now you're going to start into the judging categories. And if you notice that the judging has been divided up 50% for content, 30% for delivery, and 20% for language. You really don't want to, you're going to try not to decide, I really like the language that person used, so they automatically win. You're going to try to judge each section appropriately. So let's talk a little bit about the speech development and the content part. As you don't need to follow along, and boy, I'm probably at an advantage that I don't have to try to mess with PowerPoint as long, while I'm speaking, because all of it's on the ballot. It's listed in the front and on the back. So speech development, 50% for content, speech development, speech effectiveness, and speech value. The speech development, did it have a good opening, a good closing? Were the ideas easy to follow? Did the speaker use good transitions from one point to another? And did the speech have a purpose? And was the purpose clear? That's what you'd vote for that's where you give the points. And again, they have 20 points, so you can use anywhere from 0 to 20. And as long as you judge everybody even, I don't care what number you use, as long as it matches all the way through. You don't have to put 20 for every person, but I mean, use that same scale. Speech effectiveness, what was the audience reaction? How many of you have been in a speech and you're like, hey, they were supposed to laugh right then, they're all just sitting there. Okay, well that's part of the audience reaction. Was the subject relevant to the audience? I could come in here and speak about a subject that would have absolutely nothing to do with anybody in the room, and so would I be effective as a speaker? No. If I could think of a subject that I would know that you wouldn't know, I would give you an example, but I think pretty much everybody in this room is pretty much up here, so I won't go there. Don't get me started, Dwayne. Was the subject presented clearly? No examples used today, please. But yeah, you want to look for, was the subject presented clearly? What was the speech purpose? Was it to entertain? Was it to inform, persuade, inspire? Let's give them some points there if they did what they were supposed to do. And if you didn't, if the speech left you flat, these are just areas that you could just, tweak your score a little bit on that speaker. Did the speaker achieve his or her purpose? There you go, speech effectiveness. That kind of winds it all up. Speech value. Did the speech have a logical, clearly defined message? Were the speaker's thoughts original? Was the speech in good taste? And all of us have seen and heard speakers use and not use good, logical thoughts, clearly defined messages, and sometimes the speech is not in good taste. We don't really know where, so you might want to put it in speech value. Let's go down to delivery. 30% of the speech points. How was the contest presented? How was the content presented? Physical appearance, body language, appropriate and purposeful use of speaking areas. We've seen speakers come out and just use the area great. You're just sitting there going, man, look how they're in control of the stage. Then we have speakers that like, where are they going? They've lost me. Well, that would be some of the areas you'd be watching for their speaking area, how they use their body language, and good, appropriate, and purposeful. A good purpose. Voice. That's pretty self-explanatory. Flexibility, volume. Was it emotional? Adequate volume so everybody can hear you. If you keep hearing someone yell out, I'm not going to use the next word. It's enunciation, and I can't say it and won't do it. So that's someplace you could look for in voice to mark them up or down. This isn't always a negative. This is a positive. Wow, powerful, forceful speaker. I love that. That would be a positive in that area. Was his message good? No. Well, maybe up there he didn't get such a good thing, but he delivered it with such a good, powerful voice. And mannerism. Confident, enthusiastic, show concern for the audience. That's all in that delivery section. And the last, the 20% goes to the language. Reflects word choice and grammatical skill. Was it appropriate? I don't know, I'm in Toastmasters, and every time someone gets up to tell a joke and it's gonna be off color or use some kind of profanity, everybody in my club looks at me because they know I'm not gonna approve. Take me to a coffee shop and we'll sit down and tell the joke, yeah, but not in a Toastmaster meeting. So there's little things that we kind of wanna bring up a level when we're doing a speech. So we can't mark them out of the whole contest, but we could mark them down in the language area that was not appropriate for the audience, or you found the words we consider foul language and they may consider just everyday language. So the correctness, the grammar, the pronunciation, the word selection, give them a plus too. It's not always about negative. Boy, they had some great words. Why would I never use that word in my sentences? Wow, that sounded so appropriate and good there. Hey, a chance to give them a little extra. You know, they've gone through the speech. They've thought out how their content was going to be delivered. So let's give them a little bit of extra credit. When you get all the way done, yes, you're going to total what you come up with. A lot of people will tell you to fold these all sorts of different ways and have all different ways to keep their own idea of making it even for all the contestants. But I'm standing here today to tell you to pick a winner. How you do it, as long as it's within these guidelines and you've kind of given everybody the same fair shake that we've already talked about by not being giving anybody extra for anything. You're going to mark it, first, second, and third, fold it in half. Did anybody hear me mention that as judges you should worry about timing? No, because as judges, that is not your concern. We have a timer. We have two timers. The timers have a timer sheet. That's not you are not one bit concerned about that. I have been at contests where the red light came on as a malfunction, and the judges stopped judging and said, oh, they're disqualified, and just took them out of the race, which was so unfair to the speaker because it was actually a timing error. So that's why the judges are not to watch timing lights or even be able to have that influence them. Hopefully they're out of sight and just the contestant can see them. So that's really important. Basically, our job today has been to learn how to be good judges and to be fair to everyone. Our closing, we had it, PowerPoint phrase would be, the strongest principle of growth lies in the human choice, by George Eliot. And so as humans, when you're at a contest and you have a judge's sheet and you turn it in and the contestant walks out the door, they don't have to feel like they were cheated. Toastmaster International doesn't, and the audience doesn't, and basically, most importantly, you walk out feeling I did a good job judging. Any questions? Yay! Now, who's all signing up to be judges?
Yeah.
We need to hold